That was creepy, I'm sorry.
So we watched the Clone Wars, the movie. Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the movie. Before the series. I'm pretty sure this happened and then the series happens, yeah.
Yes.
I have seen this movie and the entire series already. Allison hasn't. Yeah. This did not need to be a movie.
No, it did not.
It feels very much like
three separate
three
episodes.
Basically every 30 minutes is its own plot. And
no, I feel like there was like the overlying plot was just like 30 minutes.
It was
like it focused on one thing and it focused on another.
There was the overlying arc. The way it does when they're in the series, when they have like 3 or 4 episodes that all pertain to each other.
Yeah.
You have the overarching arc that happens, but there's 3 different little plots that happen. It felt like that, and that might have been, we're watching it on Netflix, so that might have been how it was originally released, but I don't think so. This did not. It didn't need to be a movie. We didn't need a movie to kick off the series. You could have just started it as a series.
Well, but what better way to kick off a series?
It felt like 3 episodes. It was not a movie. Alright, the animation...
By the way, this says dialogue is crying worthy, not cringe.
The animation... Let's talk about the animation first. The animation takes some getting used to. It's different, but I have come to really like it. You can tell the animation is worse in the movie than it is later in the series. It gets much better, especially once towards the last couple seasons.
Do their hair move?
No, their hair still doesn't move.
It is.
But it's kind of blocky, a little limited, but it ends up being very expressive. People are still extremely expressive. There's a lot of body language that goes on. I don't know if you noticed, even in this, there was a lot of body language.
Yeah, there was. There was a lot of...
Yeah, and there was a lot of, like, people looking at each other, like, they had, like, identifying looks at people, and it was cool.
Even in uniform with the mask, they had identifying looks.
Even when the clones are in full uniform, they all have different body language, and that's cool. And Rex's expression gives me life. The dialogue is weird.
The dialogue is mad weird.
The dialogue's really cringeworthy a lot of the time. Everything Ahsoka says makes me cringe.
Yeah, I want to punch her on the face every single time.
It gets better later in the series.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Watch, he's gonna make me watch this whole series.
That is exactly the plan.
This is exactly, oh my god. What's happening in my life?
The dialogue gets much better later in the series. In this, it's very much trying to be a kid's straight-to-TV movie. And that's what it is. And that's exactly what it feels like.
Because
all the dialogue...
that was the audience that was watching Star Wars, so...
All of the audience... All the dialogue is downplayed significantly from...
English is our first language.
From what we see in the actual Star Wars movies, from what we see later in the Clone Wars series, all the dialogue is, like, them sniping at each other, and it sounds very PG. Which is, not to say I want them cursing, that's not what I mean. I mean, nothing they say holds any weight 90% of the time.
It's like, this thing will be a thing, and therefore a thing.
There's a couple of scenes that really do, the dialogue works out well. When Anakin goes back to Tatooine, and Ahsoka's like, was it Obi-Wan or Yoda? Someone who says, the shadows...
Yeah,
with the long shadows, whatever.
Trying to get him to talk.
Trying to get him to talk about why he doesn't like Tatooine, and Anakin's like, I don't want to talk about it. And that was a good scene where it actually felt like they're... Then it made sense that she sounded like so much of a kid, because she was not understanding this, and Anakin just being flat out, not even making something up, not even, like, explaining it, because there's an episode later where he talks about being a slave, and I don't like the way he talks about that then, but him flatly refusing to talk about it here, I think carried more weight than if he had actually told her.
I think that machine. I think that scene was very rushed. I didn't like how.
I mean, everything feels rushed.
Yeah, I didn't like how it was written or it was played out. That could have definitely been a much better scene if I was a director or a writer.
But you're not. The other scene we liked was
all of Anakin and Obi-Wan scenes.
Specifically, there was one, they're in the plane, they're trying to get back to Tatooine with the hut, and Obi-Wan calls them, and he's like, did you
Did you get shot down again?
And Anakin doesn't answer for a second, so Ahsoka like leans over and goes, "Yes."
And it was probably the again. It's just Obi-Wan does that. It was like, is Anakin again?
Yeah, this
really
entire
funny.
Obi-Wan's entire role in this movie is babysitting Anakin.
Well, that was his role. That was his role.
Babysitting Anakin poorly.
Okay, that was his role in the prequels too.
That's still his role now. In the other episodes with Luke, it's just an extension of babysitting Anakin.
It's like babysitting Anakin's son now. Great, I'm playing granddaddy.
And again, his body language is great. Another thing I really like is...
I thought we were talking about stuff we hated.
The action scenes.
I hate the action scenes.
Really?
I think they're crap.
I think they're good at being cohesive and feeling like it's actually a war. Like,
yes.
We see people die a lot, and none of those deaths are treated like it's an extra, so it's a death and it's okay.
Yeah, like they lean over. They one of the extras. They actually they take their points. Like we need a medic here.
The clones react when another clone dies. The Jedis react when another clone dies. So we like that about the action scenes. That the action, like I say, talking about carrying weight. The action scenes carry weight.
Yeah, the action scenes carry weight
because it's not just a fun action scene. It is a fun action scene. They jump around all over the place and they do flips and the lightsabers, and that's always awesome. But it's not just a fun action scene. It's that this is a war, and it feels like a war the way they do it.
Probably my favorite action scenes are the one with the droids, the sassy droids.
Alice didn't really like the droids. She didn't find them annoying at all. My favorite part of this movie, though, is when one of the clones goes up and punches a droid square in the face.
And then he goes...
But then Cody punches droids all the time in the series. He does it in this movie.
Maybe
he punches the droid.
Just stronger than the other droid.
Does he just have, like, extra plating on his fist for punching droids?
He has a name. He has a name, so...
They all have names. Can we talk about my children like that?
I hit a soft spot. Dimitri. No, okay, but can we talk about the droids for a second?
Allison, okay, everyone else in the world thinks that the enemy droids, like the battle droids, are annoying. Allison is the only one who actually finds them hilarious.
It just, the way they speak is just like, Jedi, and then, no, like, the two guys are like, surrender, you're outnumbered, and the guy's like, outnumbered? Wait, 1, 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rex is like, you're outnumbered, and then the droids start counting.
No. The thing what I really didn't like. Sorry, my phone's now in the shot. But I really, Anakin having a Padawan in the first place. I don't like him and Ahsoka's relationship
weird.
at all.
It's especially weird considering what happens later with 3 and everything.
He should not be responsible for another human being. Actually, sorry, that's not a human being. He should not be responsible for another living person.
Yeah. There's a couple problems with this. A, they know Anakin has attachment issues, so let's give him something else to be attached to. That'll work.
Yoda even says it's not the teaching that's going to be the issue. Just letting go. That's going to be the problem. What?
Yeah, it's weird. Also, Clone Wars is in a weird place that it takes place between 2 and 3, and it's supposed to help us see some of the reasons why Anakin would later turn. But because nothing in the Clone Wars series is ever mentioned in the 3rd movie, it ends up feeling like none of it really matters. So, Ahsoka, later on, you'll see what happens with her, but Ahsoka plays a big part in who he ends up being, in the man Anakin turns into. And then we never hear about her again in the series, in, like, the movie series. So it kind of feels like we should have heard about her. They should have talked about that, but because of at the time it was made, that's just not what happened. But it was
Ahsoka even a person when the actual when
this came out after 3.
So
Ahsoka didn't exist when the prequels were made.
So that's why she's not mentioned.
Right,
and maybe they should have thought of a better way to develop the character that is mentioned in the movies.
That's what makes it weird about the Clone Wars is that it's... Oh, the other thing with the mortality. Yeah. It's Ahsoka's important, obviously important to Anakin, but we never hear about her again in the 3rd movie, and you'd think it would come up again when he's talking about reasons why he wants to leave the Jedi Order. Spoilers. And the other thing is mortality. We were watching...
He leaves the Jedi Order, so...
We were watching, the fight with Obi-Wan and Ventress it doesn't
It's boring.
feel it. Yeah, right. It's boring because
I know he's gonna die in
Right.
episode 5.
Because we
so
know-
I know he's safe. And
because
it's
we
boring.
know Obi-Wan's not in real danger. The fight scene isn't very interesting. It's just needlessly flashy. Because we know he's not in danger. We know he's not really
It's
gonna
just-
die.
It feels
because
like
we see him later. And
'cause
that
he
makes
also,
it really weird also.
He also talks during the fight scene. Like he's talking to her, pretty much taunting her.
His
it's
dialogue
just annoying.
his dialogue is also his dialogue with Anakin is great. His
It's
dialogue by
hilarious.
himself is also cringy.
Hutling.
So I don't like the movie. I think if you want to get into the series, you can probably skip the movie.
Yeah.
And you can just jump straight into the series. You like
Get a brief synopsis. Of
you
the
don't need
movie
to
and,
know why they started out with Ahsoka. You just go in, oh, she's Anakin Padawan, and you can just go into there that way. Nothing that really has an impact on the rest of the series happens in the movie, except for the introduction of Ahsoka, and they just repeat that later, so it doesn't even matter.
But the Hutling, I'm sorry, adorable. Anakin can screw himself because
but
Hutling's adorable.
The adorable Hutling is not worth the movie.
No. But that Hutling though. Sorry, I'll just crawl back over.
And even the scenes with my children.
By the way,
great.
he's referring to the clones.
Yeah, the clones are all my children. Like with the Rex, that was great.
Jesus.
I love Rex. Oh, there's another scene where she's like, this is the scene where Allison was like, wow, what a brat. Her and Rex are walking somewhere, and she's like, Rex, you should do this. And Rex is like, I think we're good where we are. And she goes, if you're a captain and I'm a Jedi, don't I technically outrank you? And he's like, yeah, but experience outranks everything. And yeah, Alice and I were like, don't talk to my baby like, well, Allison was like that, but
I was like, what a brat.
I was like, don't talk to my baby like that.
I'm allowed to curse on your channel.
Yeah, but
alright, what a fucking brat.
So
I am worse than a sailor.
That was a pretty cool scene too. Not like, obviously we got mad at Ahsoka in that scene because I have a high respect for Rex, but that wasn't a bad scene in terms of the narrative.
No. Can I pretend I'm CinemaSins for a second? When they go in like that ship thing and like they had to like reach down to hold onto the thing like you would in like a subway or something, she does have to. It shows Ahsoka have to reach up higher, but hers is still longer. Where'd the longer one come from? Like
there must be a strap or something that they can make it longer. But
no,
but okay, that's another thing. The animation, like I said, it's blocky and it's weird and it's a little it's not stiff though. And there's a lot of body language, and there's a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah.
All of the clones look different. All of them have unique helmets, unique armor designs. If something gets hit, the mark is there later. Ahsoka has to reach up higher to reach the thing, so it looks like she's reaching up higher. Like
Ahsoka's chain thing moves as well.
Her braids, yeah. Those are her Padawan braids. Yeah, I know. It doesn't look like hair. That's the only downfall of this animation is nothing that's supposed to be like hair or fabric looks like hair or fabric.
Like, Obi-Wan looks like he's wearing a staple-on beard, and
but all the armor looks really good by comparison.
The armor looks
but
cool.
none of the nothing that's a fabric or hair looks good. But that's you get used to that as the series goes on, and the animation quality does improve.
Are you sure they showed Anakin with the mechanical hand?
They don't have to show him. We know he has a mechanical hand.
Yes, but I want to see it so that I can be nitpicky.
There is an episode later where they release like an ion bomb where it only hits the droids, and it does affect his hand, and it shows it affecting his hand. Okay. So they remember that he has a mechanical hand. But that's in later episodes. Yeah, I would say you could skip the movie.
Yeah. I'd say skip the series, but oh my god.
She hasn't seen the series yet, though.
I haven't.
She's gonna like it.
I am more of a Trekkie.
But so am I, and I still like Clone Wars.
Yeah, but you're weird.
Alright. Comments. Do you like the movie? Do you also hate the movie? If you like or don't like the movie, what are things that you'll allow it that it did good? That was the sentence.
We speak English as a first language.
Leave comments. Episode 1, the review of episode 1 is already out, because I did it with Lizzie and Seth.
What?
Episode 2...
When did you do it with Seth?
When Lizzie was here. Episode 2 will be out... Well, episode 1 isn't, like, part of the narrative, so it's fine. We'll do episode 2 probably not tomorrow, but
are we seriously doing every single episode? Is this what's happening?
Well, some episodes we have to do together because they're arcs, but...
Alright. Fun times. So, he is going to inadvertently make me watch this entire series. Fun times. This is not the first time he's done this, by the way.
Bye.
Bye.